into crèche, nursery, and primary schools.
Godman Stella International Academy, located at number 3, Etuk F. Young Crescent, opposite School Road, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, offers a serene learning environment, qualified and certified teachers, wide and varied curriculum, including Montessori learning, computer lab, music, creative arts, and home economics lab.
Gives rebate on admission for fresh intake and parents with 3 or more children.
You can view your children's results on our online portal at www.bmiastar.com.ng.
Call these numbers for further inquiry: 0810-719-5963 or 0704-793-3439.
Godman Stella Academy, nurturing a total child for excellence.
The People's Parliament this morning, our conversations are guided by 4 motions. The first, the Akwa Ibom Palliative Committee submits report to the governor as the Akwa Ibom people seek distribution. President Tinubu Unveils 8-point agenda, threatens to sack ministers who fail to perform. Targets 50 million jobs in 3 years. Of course, you also see federal government order states community prone to flood to evacuate to avoid loss of lives. In the last, SERAP urges President Tinubu to reverse ban on media houses at the presidential villa. There's 4 up for conversations. You can leave a comment on Parliament Radio 101.1 FM or you're on Facebook. Of course, you can join through the phone lines, which of course will be heading in right away. Good morning, Parliamentarian. You're live on plenary.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. My name is Akwa Ibom.
Welcome.
All right. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the ambassador of my phone. What I'm saying like that is that yesterday, immediately I got the call on yesterday's program. I went to another planet to contribute my idea as I normally do to the planet. So after contributing this, he called me that to come to that planet to come and receive the sum of 5,000 naira. I was the closer person that gives a little more idea for the question that was happening last week. So I want to appreciate it for that. Because why I'm saying like that, all of us can contribute for the planet. Why am I saying like that? In my own particular building, I was only bring out only single water for people to take water for free, the planet. But because of that money came to me, I decided to bring additional 2 parts added to that 1 part. So now say, to the new queue in my contract. So at least any person that brings that water will say thank you. That thank you will go to Ambassador Takurata. So in the issue of Christ today, right, it's a word of development. I want to wish everybody to have pressure. That the palliative will reach everybody. If we can be able to have sincerity in each of all of us, at least to contribute with the one that federal government is contributing, at least we can turn around. Then in the issue of minister, the president has ordered that if you are not performing well, that they are going to return you back home. And I believe if we are able to start on that, we'll be challenging those people to work very massively so that they can perform for that body. So I don't know whether you have anything to say before I raise my case. Hello?
Yes, Parliamentarian. Go ahead. We're with you.
All right. So that is what I want to say. So I thank Ambassador. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Glad you had an extra from the ambassador. Of course, his benevolence has been extended via different platforms. We know that. Thanks you. What we call... okay, let me just allow that slide. But it's a good thing that you got extra from the ambassador there. Good morning, Parliamentarian. Welcome in the plenary.
Good morning to you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you this morning.
Welcome.
I am Edet. I'm calling from you. Mr. Speaker, this morning, I want to draw your attention to the popularity of this palliative. Before now, subsidy was the order of this. But now, palliative has taken over. And palliative has been so talked about that both sides, even the government, they are confused on what to do to satisfy the masses. But one thing I want to say here is that no matter what you do, people may not see that satisfaction. But the best thing to do is to start doing it. Just start doing it. And see where the complaint comes from so that you'll be able to mitigate that complaint and do better. Away from that, I want to also intimate people that for me, this is the second time that I'm supposed to plant. This is August. We are getting to December now. I think people should have already started planting for their late planting. I will cushion this effect of the Speaker, you agree with me that if you have food on your table, most talks about this palliative things that we play down. So, and the best thing to do is for you to put your hand in the soil. Just plant. God will be the one that will give the nourishment for you to grow. So, I am urging everybody listening to me now to go into your farm, in your garden, anything around their houses, and plant something that will give them something to eat in days to come. Mr. Speaker, as I'm talking to you, the government should also support this initiative by, giving, agricultural input, fertilizers, seeds, cassava stems, and all that to the farmers. The main farmers is what I'm talking about, not the audio ones that will come politically and get what's supposed to have been given to the, farmers. If you do this, Mr. Speaker, you are going to see that most of these, most talked about food and all that will be a thing of the past. Because if you have something to start from in your house, you'll be able to, get some of these problems. But I still believe that the happy hours that the government is so talked about should not be, initiatives that people will bring to think about drinking, dining and all that. The government should look in the directive, of, giving, support to the transporters. You can give them 1 day off by not allowing them to pay tickets. They can reduce the days at which the workers should go to work. They can also, give some transportation, remedies for the workers. They can also look inward for how they can do, especially in the village, those people that they call the forest of the poor. They can look inward by through their village aids, and identify them and give them succor. That will be a welcome development in this respect. So, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of things to be done, but I just want that initiative to be started so that people can look at the areas that, that have not been done properly and, do well. I think this will be the relief for the people instead of continuing talking about it. So you hear about the looting in Yenagoa now.
All right, thank you very much, Parliamentarian. Of course, the situation in Yenagoa is not something to write home about, where palliative that were meant since 2022 were sent to the state had not been distributed. Of course, the people are now looting it, which, of course, reports reaching us is that most of those food items are expired. And so you can imagine when people loot expired food items to go home and eat, what the outcome might possibly be. But, of course, let's get back to our conversation this morning. Good morning, Parliamentarian. Welcome to the plenary.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Parliamentarian Joe, welcome.
Yes, I want to comment the effort of the idea of the last speaker. I think he has spoken well. Mr. Speaker, I think it would be woeful if everyone in the Akwa Ibom State puts his eyes on this issue of palliative. I think if this palliative is given, it may not take a household 1 week. Let us not put all our hopes on palliative, and all of that. And as a result, going very hard on government on this issue. I said that the money would not be distributed in line with this palliative of the team. On the issue of the committees, submitting their take on the issue of palliative, I think all parties of CS in Akwa Ibom was represented in that committee report. So it would not be an issue of political or it is government that was doing it. Government handed over this issue to a certain committee that involves civil society, even government, people and all of that. So I think whatever those people will come up, the resolution they will come up, I think will be better for the state. But my advice is we must not put our eyes, our hopes, our aspiration on palliative. That without palliative, it is not so much for having me to say that.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, advising Akwa Ibom to focus on other things outside the palliative is also cause for concern on the part of Akwa Ibom. Let's look at some of the comments coming from the meeting between the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umoino, and the Palliative Committee as published by the Evangelist this morning. See that... The Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umoino, has announced his administration's plan to put in place a palliative measure, one project per local government initiative to create employment, reinvigorate the economy and increase cash flow within the rural communities. These projects are to be awarded to indigent contractors from the respective local government areas who in turn are to recruit the locals to work and enhance their productivity as well as boost their purchasing powers. Governor Umoino was speaking, of course, yesterday when he received the report report of the Palliatives Committee set up by this government to work out modalities cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal on residents of the state. In a brief ceremony that took place at the State Executive Council Chambers, Government House, the Governor stated his willingness to surpass the recommendation of the Committee for the Well-Being of the People. And like I said earlier on, the recommendations of the Palliative Committee, I'm yet to come across that document. I'm hoping that before the end of the day, the government media will make it available to us so we can look at, the recommendations. Okay, I just got that this morning. We see that Prince Uwa, who happens to have been the chair of the committee, and of course, talking about the SSG to the government of Federation, said the committee made far-reaching and long short-term recommendations, as listed some of these relief materials to include distribution of food items to the poorest of the poor at the village levels with proper monitoring mechanism to ensure that the items get to the targeted people, especially those in the rural communities, setting up of committees at the local government levels with paramount rulers, village head, labor leaders, student leaders, people with disabilities, and distribution of seedlings and agrochemicals to farmers. Other recommendations include a 3-month financial support to civil servants, approval of 4 working days to civil servants, reduction in cost of daily tickets to transport operators, reduction in price of daily tickets for market women, payment of bursary to students, provision of free drugs for pregnant women, children, and the aged, provision of buses to convey workers to and from work, opening up of economic access road in rural areas, entrepreneurial support for business operators, intervention in primary healthcare delivery system, provision of micro health insurance scheme for civil servants, establishment of fuel depots in the state, amongst others. Now, these are some of the provisions that has been made by the Palliative Committee. Lofty ones, we must say that, but like a parliamentarian did say, retirees and pensioners had not been captured in the recommendations so far reeled out by the Palliative Committee set up by the government of Akwa Ibom State, and that is a great cause for concern. Of course, looking at putting in place the other measures as enlisted by the Palliative Committee, we're looking at the possibility of the state government being able to put in each local government area a firm that will be able to, change the narrative. You're also looking at a very critical thing, which has been a part of the front burner of conversations, the ensuring of the establishment of petrol depots across Akwa Ibom State, which has been a conversation since this administration came in, especially looking at the fact that the one at a time is being unoperational for a very long time now. Good morning, parliamentarian. Welcome to the plenary.
Thank you very much. My name is Seth Morgan, calling from Badene.
Welcome.